Is there a difference between the structure of a song and maybe the structure of a cue?
Yes, absolutely. And that's something that people who are just starting out frequently don't know. They think that an instrumental cue is structured like a song, but in fact of point, or point of fact, I think is the right way to say that. A cue is generally 60 seconds to 2 minutes long, give or take. It doesn't have to be exactly 60. It doesn't have to end exactly at 2 minutes. It could be 73 seconds. It could be 98 seconds, whatever. But it generally has a very short intro to frequently no intro at all. Sometimes it could be just a brrr, boom, bangs right in. So a little drum turn and boom, you're right into what in the context of a song might have been the chorus section. In the context of a cue, that becomes your A section. It's the primary motif of the cue. And quite frankly, oftentimes it loops to the point of almost being boring because it's just A. So you take what might have been a bridge and create a little 4 or 8 bar break in the middle so that when they're editing that music into a scene, they've got something else if they need it. The real secret is to always give what I think is most commonly referred to as a developmental arc to your cues. A song has lyrics and melody to move it forward. An instrumental cue has rhythm and melody to move it forward. But a developmental arc is more about the layering of the instruments. So while a cue may start out very sparsely, let's say in the context of a typical ensemble, kind of a pop rock ensemble, you would start out maybe the first 4 bars would just be bass, drums, and a simple little guitar lick. And then the next 4 bars, you add a rhythm guitar to that. And then you keep that part of the ensemble, that complement of instruments going for another 16 bars or 32 bars. And then you break it back down to just maybe bass and drums for 4 bars. And then you bring in that guitar lick again. And you repeat the process and build it back up. And then as you get closer to the end, maybe add a second electric guitar as a rhythm, or maybe a keyboard, something that takes it. So what you're doing is starting out small, building, 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 drop it down, build it back up, build it back up, build it back up, boom, big finish. And a common phrase for nobody really fades out that much. Back in our day, we did long fades for DJs to talk over them when stuff got played on radio. Nowadays, people usually have some form of a hard ending. So depending on the context of the type of music, the genre, if you're doing orchestral stuff, something that's very legato and kind of spacey and ethereal feeling, it's not going to have a big pronounced hard ending that you would call a stinger. But in the context of that pop rock piece, you would have it end on a bam. That is a stinger, sometimes called a buttoned ending or a button ending, because it typically goes back to the tonic and ends on the downbeat. The reason they want that is because it makes it editable. You can grab that piece, that ending, and just cut on that beat and move it anywhere in the scene you need. So let's say we're working on a TV show and the video editor has gotten this piece of music approved, got it from the music supervisor, the producer approved it, yes, it should go in that scene, and now the guy and the girl in that scene are having a fight, and at the end she says, "That's it, I'm out of here, Buster," and she slams the door. You want music that ends on that slam and maybe has a little ring out from that hard ending that will carry crossfade into the opening of an outside shot where he's getting in a car and driving away after the big fight. So, yeah, structurally, the arrangements are different.
How about the length of time for cues? I mean, I've seen libraries where it was 10 seconds, 30 seconds, 60 seconds. Is that still happening?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that question. It's not uncommon that when a library hears a piece of music that they like, let's talk in the terms of instrumental cues for the moment, that they hear something that they like, yeah, I'd like to include that in my library. they will then ask the composer, the songwriter, can you give me cut downs? And that means that, yeah, they're going to want, a 2-minute version, they're going to want a 90-second version, they're going to want a 60, a 30, a 15, a 10, a 5, and a 2. Those are all common possibilities of what they might ask for. I don't think they would ask for that many. Typically, it'd probably be more like a 2-minute version, a 60-second version, a 30, and a 5. And the reason being that I think a lot of people don't understand they're not going to use my or your full cue every time. As a matter of fact, they're going to use little pieces of it. They may edit it so if you give them a 2-minute thing, they may actually like what's going on 1 minute and 31 seconds into it better than they liked what happened in the previous 1 minute and 30 seconds. So the editor working on the show is going to chop it right at 1 minute and 31 and use it from that point going forward. But let's say that there's another 29 seconds of music to run out to the end, but the scene is only 11 seconds. So what they're going to do is find a way to take that in point at 1 minute 31, use that as their in edit, and maybe they'll take a drum turnaround that started off the thing in the beginning, boom, cut in, and they run for 10 or 9 seconds, and then just cut right on the downbeat of the buttoned ending or the stinger, and that gives them the parts of the cue that they liked used in the place that they need it and cut to the timing that they needed to work within.